The NASCAR Winston Cup Series is back here on JRTV for the 10th race of the 2003 season, and we head to the biggest oval track on the schedule. It is the Talladega Superspeedway for the Aaron's 499. Always a chaotic race, and Trey, with a chance of rain possible later on in the day, this race could be even more intense. It rained a little bit earlier today in the morning, and you can see the skies right now, Trey. It is a dreary day for everyone here at the racetrack. More rain on the way, so if this race can't get to halfway, can't get to the conclusion of the full 499 miles, someone could leave the track with a victory, not completing the full distance.
Yeah, I mean, the rain only means a couple of things, right, Joe? One, the track's cooler, so, I mean, technically, when you think of the track being cooler, the tires are going to not have more grip, but it's going to be easier to move the car around because it won't be hot and slick, so expect the moves to be bigger, and also expect them to be bigger just because, like you said, if the rain comes in, I mean, these guys are going to want to be up front as soon as they can and try to stay up there.
Now, does this benefit maybe some of the drivers that set their cars up to qualify well here today? Max Davis in the 21 needed to make this race on speed. Did he put in more of a qualifying setup rather than a race setup? A car that would perform well by itself, maybe be a bit of a handful in the draft with other cars to get that car on pole and into the show. Maybe the same thing with Colin Lewis in the 91, the 77 Tyler Belladonna, the 59 Jerry Chen. All those go or go homers start inside the top 20 here today. But Trey, if their cars are trimmed out more to where they might handle worse, are there cooler conditions and the overcast skies going to benefit them possibly and keep their cars under control, while maybe some of the drivers that went for control, they're going to be a little bit slower now?
Yeah, you would definitely have to think that the only thing I worry about is that if you, like you said, if these guys go with more of a qualifying type setup, is that, qualifying's made for, clean air. There's no one in front of you. There's no one with you. But if you end up making one mistake and you fall back, your car might not handle the way you want it to.
Exactly. So we'll have to see, what occurs with Max Davis throughout the race, Colin Lewis in the 91, Tyler Belladonna, Jerry Chen. Are their cars fast by themselves, or is it the fact that they maybe put in more of a qualifying setup into their race cars? And with this being an impound race, you have to race what you qualify here at Daytona Talladega. We'll have to see how those drivers perform throughout this 38-lap race. And Trey, the big news coming out of NASCAR just yesterday here at the Talladega Superspeedway is the fact that their title sponsor of the Cup Series, Winston, will be leaving at the end of the season due to cost-cutting measures, as the brand Winston, R.J. Reynolds as a whole has lost tens of millions of dollars in the last quarter of 2002 alone. So Winston will no longer be the title sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series after a very long time of sponsoring, Trey, 23 years strong, and I know you've been a driver for 20 of those years. What was it like to have Winston as the title sponsor? And really, I just have to think, really elevated the sport up from the beginning all the way to where we are now.
I mean, I don't know if I'll ever get away from calling it, the Winston Series, right? I mean, it's just one of those things that kind of stick with you. And I mean, it'll be cool to see another sponsor come over and take over the series and have them be the name brand. But at the same time, it's kind of sad to see Winston go away. And I'll be honest, it wasn't on my card for things to go down this season.
No, this was sudden news that not even NASCAR had expected coming, and we'll have to see now what NASCAR is going to do, Trey, right? Because they have to find a new title sponsor for the NASCAR Cup Series. And where are they going to go? Which direction are they going to go? They obviously have a lot of sponsors that have already been attracted to the sport for many years in the past. Something like Coca-Cola has sponsored a lot of cars and sponsored races, and some beer products have sponsored stuff like that. So we'll have to see. But although, Trey, from what I've been hearing, they're trying to cater the sport to more of a family-friendly and kind of kid-friendly experience. So with Winston now leaving and kind of leaving themselves, not getting pushed out by NASCAR, does this open the door for NASCAR to find a more family-friendly sponsor to take over as the title sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series?
I have nothing against that, right? If you bring in families, you're bringing in the younger generation, the kids, and that just brings more audience to, what we do here. And I mean, if that brings more of an audience, then I'm all for it.
Well, JRTV will keep everyone watching here abreast on the news that comes throughout the next few months as NASCAR looks to find a title sponsor for 2004 and beyond for the NASCAR Cup Series. And maybe the biggest news out of the week, earlier in the week, Trey, on Tuesday, NASCAR released penalties after Dover, and they were not good for one Anthony Hernandez, who lost 100 driver's points, the team losing 100 owners points as well, and he's been placed on probation throughout the end of the 2003 season for his incident with Nolan Lawrence under the caution flag on lap number 18 at the Dover Raceway. Trey, I have a lot of thoughts on it, but since it was my car involved, and you are a previous driver of the Winston Cup Series, you know what it's like whenever you make contact with another car, and maybe they make contact with you, and you feel like you were wronged. What is it like in that situation, and what kind of goes through your mind if someone hits you, and what kind of retaliation you're trying to plan out there if you think it should go to that level?
I mean, Joe, you've watched me race for how many years now, right? You know I've been on my fair share of being turned and doing the turning, right? But the key word there is turning, right? I never went out there and hit someone head on going 100 plus miles an hour just out of frustration. I mean, I don't think I wasn't surprised. I don't think you were surprised. I don't think Hernandez was surprised. I don't think anyone else who witnessed that was surprised that the penalty was so harsh. And I mean, it's just, I wouldn't even say it's an unwritten rule. It's just a straight up logical rule that you don't go out of your way to try to cause physical harm to another driver. And I mean, I don't think you can argue that he wasn't trying to cause physical harm.
I think the worst part of all this, beyond the crash itself, is that throughout the week and after the race, when he went to the hauler, NASCAR said it was like it was falling on deaf ears, everything they were saying. After the penalty was announced, he still wouldn't give his thoughts about the incident, still wouldn't say anything about the incident. And basically kind of just, he didn't seem like he was remorseful about it, Trey. Like normally drivers, after they get into a situation like that, after they calm down, they go, man, I screwed up. But Anthony Hernandez has showed zero signs of that, and that's where I think it's kind of interesting to see and kind of scary to see, as he just lost 100 driver's points because of the whole ordeal, and he doesn't seem fazed by it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was, talking with some of his teammates like Eli Bright or even his team owner, and they were saying that they didn't think that Hernandez would ever do something like that, and honestly, they weren't, very happy with him. And I mean, how could you be? How could you support something like that? I mean, it was just bad, and like you said, the way he reacted from it just kind of seemed like he didn't really even care, and honestly, he should be counting his lucky stars with the penalty that NASCAR gave him. I mean, it was a big one, but with the way he reacted and what happened out there and what all, caused it should have been bigger in some people's opinion.
Well, since we're on the topic, let's get to our first ever Gatorade audience analysis that comes before the race, Trey. Because we're already on the topic of Hernandez, might as well bring it up now before we get to the green flag. We won't have to interrupt any of the racing getting into this. Last week, we'd asked what is the best 1 mile NASCAR Winston Cup track as we were racing at Dover. It was actually a tie, Trey, between Dover and Rockingham. They tied at 45%. The New Hampshire and Phoenix both were below 10%. So you had said it was too hard to answer. You liked all of them. So you kind of thought they were going to end up around 25%, all 4 of them. But Dover and Rockingham blew the other 2 away.
Yeah, I was good thing I didn't vote because it doesn't hurt the record.
That's true. And this week, obviously, talking about the penalty. And for you, the fans, put yourself in charge in NASCAR. What would you have given Anthony Hernandez as a penalty for his contact with Nolan Lawrence? Would it have just been points like NASCAR gave? Would it have just been a suspension for maybe a race or a few? Would it have been both a points and a suspension on top of that? Or would you have given a nothing?
Honestly, I think the points were a big enough hit, but clearly with the way you saw his reaction, I don't think it was enough. I would have suspended him for more than just 1 or 2 races. It might have been quarter of the season. I mean, from the way he reacted, it just kind of looked like he wasn't fazed. So if that doesn't get, through a driver's head, what was it, 100 points penalty?
Yep.
Almost like a 200 points penalty, wasn't it? Or something around that with the, driver or team or whatever it was, right? So, I mean, if that doesn't really show like, or seem like it affects the driver at all, you got to go bigger.
To put that penalty into perspective, with where he finished at Dover, he left that race negative 60 points. He got negative 60 points from Dover. After you took those points away from the finish, he earned negative 60 points. He lost points by just showing up at Dover.
I mean, again, it doesn't really seem like he cared about it, did he?
Apparently not. And the funny thing throughout the week was that you saw all the drivers, and we heard all the drivers making comments about it and how, everyone was talking about how bad it was. Did you notice that some of the drivers that didn't open their mouths at all were the drivers that maybe got kind of freed by what he did just because they were involved in a lot of stuff at Dover, right? Like Luke Rainey in the 88 wrecked a few cars, and some of the other drivers that were like Roger Crown Jr. down the back straightaway where he almost flipped the 57. It's like, well, I'm not going to make a comment because I did hit someone out there, but if all the spotlight's on him, nothing's on me.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I would be doing the same thing, right? If the spotlight ain't on me, I'm just gonna, keep my mouth shut and kind of hide in the shadow right now and see if it passes over.
Well, it's about time to get going here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Quickly go to the track facts here for Talladega. As mentioned, dreary day. It's only 61 degrees in May in Alabama. That's just we just got a cold front here, I guess, here in the Alabama area. And as mentioned, a lot of wind, a lot of clouds. There is 14 miles an hour of wind here at the Talladega Superspeedway. We'll see how that impacts the cars as they're racing in the draft. This race will be 38 laps in length, just over 101 miles. No fuel window required here, so they can go the full race on the tank of 76 racing fuel. 33 degrees of banking in the turns, 18 degrees in the travel, 3 degrees in the straightaways. And as mentioned before, this is the biggest oval track on the Winston Cup Series calendar. As we'll go down tracks, I get the command to fire the engines up for the NR2003 here at the Talladega Superspeedway.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there roll off 42 cars for a 2.66 mile pace lap here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Let's go to the third row, because that's winner's row here at Talladega. Keegan Thompson on the inside of number 5 won this race back in 2000, but since then has not won at the Talladega Superspeedway. And Trey, with that win already earlier this season at Atlanta, looking to try and regain some momentum. He's not had the most consistent of seasons, but maybe Talladega, Trey, could turn around and get his second victory of the season, join Jay Brando and Brett Sears, the only multi-time winners this season.
Yeah, I was not surprised to see this guy start inside the top 5, Joe. I think whenever we think of a super speedway, he's definitely one of the names that pops up almost every time, and seems like he's always in contention for the win whenever that white flag comes out.
Let's also talk about his teammate Brett Sears. He's won on the Superspeedway before, and here he is leading the points by over 100 over his nearest competition. So Trey, with him starting on the inside row in 9th place, is his plan for today going to be try and get up to the front in the first few laps, lead a lap for 5 bonus points, and then immediately drop to the back to try and avoid a big crash if one does occur throughout this race?
I mean, that would definitely be the safer plan, and I would not be surprised to see him do that. But it's also Brett Sears, and I don't think he's one of those guys that take it easy. He's always likes to be up in the mix.
And then a few rows back, the most impressive driver and team from Dover, Tyler Belladonna in the 77. Both Jasper cars made the race here today. They both started in the 8th row, 15th and 16th. Belladonna, a 3rd place at Dover, was leading at the white flag lap. Trey, a lot of momentum on the side. We know Talladega can produce upset winners. Could he be the one today in the Aaron's 499?
It seemed like his team owner was a little shocked with how he performed there at Dover, and honestly, I would not be surprised to see one of those 2 cars be up front in the final pack here near the end of this thing. And if they come out with a win, honestly, I can put it on my bingo card.
Well, both cars are fast in qualifying. We'll see if they're fast in the race. The last 11 Talladega races have had 11 different winners. The last repeat winner at the track, the man standing beside me, Trey Bardo. We'll see if someone can break that, or if we have 12 winners in the last 12 races. Remember, Oskin won the last time out in an underfunded car. The green flag is waving, and we're underway at Talladega. Trey, you can already hear those engines giving a lot of horsepower, a lot of RPM because of those cloudy conditions and the cool conditions. That's going to be one thing to watch. The horsepower, the speeds here today, they're going to be so great. Engines could become an issue if this race goes green for a long ways. As Roberto Crown Jr. dodged the inside on Max Davis, they're looking to lead the first lap, and already up to 3rd comes Brett Sears, side by side through the trial. Roberto Crown Jr. on the inside leads the first lap of the Aaron's 499 at Talladega.
Yeah, now it's time to see what Sear can do. He's going to ride behind this 43 for a while until, honestly, I'd say coming off a Ford is where he could make his move, lead his lap, and like you said, drop back. But I don't think that's in Sear's playbook.
No, I don't know if Brett Sear knows what dropping back means. He has his teammate Lathan Strickland going with him. Strickland dominated this race last season, but that was with a different team. We'll see if he can dominate just like he did last season with now a Hendrick car. He's pushing Brett Sear by Roberto Crown Jr. in turns 3 and 4, and if the 25 can come around and lead the lap, that would be 5 bonus points. Very crucial to try and keep that point save as big as possible.
I see 3 Hendrick cars up front. Where's the fourth one hiding at?
Justin Zaidel started a little bit further back, but he was on the inside. He's still moving forward, up inside the top 20, going for the top 15. 3 wide through the tri-oval. Lathan Strickland left Brett Sear out to dry, and it looks like he leads the second lap for himself, and maybe there's a reason he did that. He's top 5 in points, so if he doesn't, shuffle Sear out and give Sear the bonus points, then how is he going to gain on him?
Yeah, that is very true here. It's all, it's the beginning of the season. Teamwork always is a little nice, but at the same time, you're trying to set yourself up for the long haul here. It's always a marathon. It's never a sprint.
3 wide for second place comes Riley Spurley-Tube to the inside of Belladonna and last race winner Jay Brando. Keyshawn Richardson coming into the mix as well in the 99 car. And then Tim Guerin, Evan Hunter, the MB2 teammates started 21st and 23rd. They're now 4th and 5th. Hunter 1 year back in 2001. He leaves Gary out to dry. Strickland stays out front as Richardson looks on Spurley-Tube, but the 28 slams the door shut. And that's going to be a driver to watch, Riley Spurley-Tube. He's done so well at the super speedways. He's led a lot of laps. He just has not found a way to get to victory lane in one of these things. Maybe today's the day.
Yeah, it just seems like you said, he's always in the mixes. He just never has the luck to finish it out well. And as you can see there, he's just left out to dry up top, and he's going to lose a lot of positions due to that.
Well, the man going for the lead, he knows how to win here. He knows how to win super speedway races. Won the Daytona 500, the first race, the biggest race of the season. But he gets left out by Justin Zaidel and Anthony Hernandez. The 24 and the 1 move to the front in turns 3 and 4, bringing Jordan Stout and Mathis Wells with them. So already, Trey, drivers that started poorly in this race, they're moving up inside the top 5 and going for the lead. As Zaidel, who started 25th in this race, is going to look like he's going to come around and lead the 4th lap here at Talladega.
Man, these guys love to shut the door at each other, don't they? I think I see it at least 3 or 4 times a lap.
It's been a very aggressive start. It's not like they're going 4 wide a bunch, but they're really making some big moves in terms of just moving down the track and slamming doors. And as you mentioned, they're just not being nice to each other today.
No, how long do you think that'll last till someone loses patience and doesn't, give up that small amount of space that someone needs to shut that door?
Here comes Anthony Hernandez. Patience out the window, we know for him. As the 22 of Baird moves to the inside. Zaidel got a big push from Jordan Stout down in front of the 1, but can't get down in front of Nathan Baird. So Baird's going for lead. And here comes Henry Guo. That 0's moving up nicely, Trey. Guo up into the top 3. He might be going for the lead here in the tri-oval.
We'll see what he can do. Luke Rainey's going to dive low on him, though, putting Guo in the middle, but Luke Rainey's got a head of steam going for him.
And Luke Rainey, a big run through the tri-oval. Nathan Baird's going to lead the lap for Bill Davis Racing. 5 points there, 5 points big for that sort of team as they're trying to stay inside the top 35 in the owner's points. Luke Rennie to the front, he's trying to gain in the points, currently just outside of the top 10. A big day today for points, could move him up inside the top 10, back into championship position. Here comes Laura Chung, here comes Jay Rando. Rando, one of the hottest drivers of the season. Only he and Sierra have won multiple races. Now he's getting a push from Keegan Thompson and Jude Martinelli. Rando trying to get to Luke Rennie. The 88 slams the door shut down low. 97 will run in second place behind the 88. Thompson in third. And then Martinelli up to 4th place in that 67 car.
These guys are, I still feel like they're kind of filling out their car, seeing what it'll do. Like you said, these engines are a lot more high-pitched than we're used to hearing here at Talladega.
They're working overtime today, that's for sure. And we'll have to see. Obviously, we know who builds the big engines in terms of horsepower. Now we'll see who has them for workability throughout the full 38 laps. Martinelli tried to make a move. He got hung out. He's now trying to get down front of Tuck, but the 32 of Matt Tuck moves to the bottom. Here comes Baby Ruiz, and here comes a man and a team that knows how to win at these super speedway races. Oskin's only career victory came right here last season in the fall at Talladega. That was with an underfunded Haas Carter Motorsports, one of the worst teams of the season. He got it done there. This team last season in the Daytona 500 won it with Jordan Edwards. So this is a match made in heaven for both driver and car owner Eli Bright. Oskin up inside the top 5 and looking for some more here at Talladega. It's for the lead. Jay Rando looks on Luke Rennie, gets the push from Thompson, and he leads the lap for 5 bonus points. Big there for Jay Rando.
You notice as soon as we got a couple of these faster, higher team cars out front here, the front started to stretch out a little bit here. Now they're starting to shuffle and everyone's starting to come back together. That just shows you if you get a guy like a Hendrick car, or even I think it was the 88 of Rainey who really started that, who's fast in the open air, it can really string everyone out.
Did you see the run this red number 8 got through turns 1 and 2? I mean, he had to lift before running into the back of your driver, Henry Guo. And if he would have ran to the back of that 0, would have caused an accident. But instead, he gave him the draft push. Guo is now out in front in the 0 car. Eli Bright to second. Jacob Miller looking for a second with Evans. The 31 leaves the 57 out. And Guo is all by himself. Trey, your car's going to lead a lap right here at Talladega.
So, you know, him and Ryan Wilson, you know, the driver of the 15, were it was a couple nights ago. I think they were up till about 1-2 Eastern, you know, playing on that NR game. So maybe that's what they were doing. They were just kind of running. Because look who's only, what is that, 4 cars back from Bro?
Yeah, here comes Ryan Wilson as Evans, not a man to stay in line, moves down to the inside, wants to break up that good story. Look at the pack behind the front 10 or so. They are scrambling all over the place as Evans goes for the lead. We have Matthew Burnett getting put middle of 3. Ryan Wilson, the 15, he has a lot of confidence after Dover, where he ran inside the top 5 for basically the whole race, nearly won the thing, finished inside the top 5, and Trey, oh, by the way, this is the car that dominated this race last season with Lathan Strickland leading a majority of the laps and ending up in victory lane, so Wilson has to have confidence in the car as well.
Yeah, one problem is it's hard to dominate when you get put in the middle. Like the 59 just did the Wilson, but now he's actually going to get put to the middle.
And here comes Zachary DeLello, has not yet won this season, but has had some solid performances, looking for some of that consistency that he's had the past few seasons. Obviously, it's a little bit hard for him because he's been the 97 ever since his tenure at Roush. Now he got moved to the 16, a whole different team, has to get adjusted to it, and it's taken a little bit, but we know that team and that driver, they can be just as fast as their teammates have been so far this season.
Yeah, you know, this 10 right here, this 30, his team owner and teammate, kind of, they only started 2 positions apart from each other, right?
Yep, and they're still together somewhat.
I was going to say, they're still about 2 positions apart from each other right now. So, looks like, again, whenever one of these drivers are good, they're both right on.
And so far this season, they've both been right on pretty much the whole time. They're both up in the point standings, both up there in position to fight for the championship. If they can just shuffle Brett Sierra down a little bit, get him a few bad finishes, they could be ones to watch as they're going to move to first and second. Hunter pushing Gary out to the lead, and a great run tray for Ali Liera in this 09. She's not made a lot of races so far this season, but here she is, and one of them that she's made, she's trying to make it count. Moving up inside the top 5, looks like Jericho's going to leave her out into the middle as those two MB2 cars go side by side, but Ali Liera moved up nicely from the back of the field and showed that car maybe has some pace in that draft.
It definitely seems like whenever she's able to, you know, make some of the races, she's at least getting, you know, solid runs in or solid finishes, top 30s, which, you know, to some of these teams might sound like a bad day, but for these lower end teams, that's what you're looking for.
I think one of the last times she was in a race, Keegan Thompson wrecked her going into turn 1 at Rockingham, so she obviously wants to forget about that and move on to something better. Evan Hunter led that lap right there for 5 bonus points. That's big because he's up there in that championship fight. Currently 3rd in the point standings behind Sarah Kirchner and Brett Sierra. We've not really talked about Kirchner today. She didn't qualify all that well. She raced up towards the top 10, but got shuffled out. She's currently moving back. We've talked about Brett Sierra. He tried to lead early on, couldn't get it done. Now he's back up to 3rd. That car, though, it doesn't look fast, Trey, when he gets out in front. He can draft pretty well. Once he starts leading a line, like when he got left out 3 wide, he dropped the anchor. Right there, got left out 3 wide, dropped the anchor again.
Yeah, it's definitely, that's not what you want to see. So if we ever end up with a caution somehow, and he's not involved, right? He's good, but, whoa, that looked a little strange there. But, yeah, if he's not involved, that's going to be definitely something that he might want to think about coming down pit road and adjusting it. But at the moment, he's just going to kind of, you know, deal with it and try to figure something out.
Penske Racing working together, Zachary Fitzwater Sr., Mitchell Collins. This is a team that, you know, honestly, their season would have been a lot better if not for Fitzwater failing inspection after winning at the California Speedway. You know, he would be up there near the top 10 in points if not for that. He's had a very solid season, a very strong season at points. He's qualified well in a lot of races. And Mitchell Collins has kind of suffered a little bit. He's started to do a lot better lately the last few races. But both the Penske cars have raced well this season, a lot better than they had. Oh my goodness, that was a block and a half out of Zachary Fitzwater Sr., but it didn't work. Stout has his teammate Richardson to go with him 3 wide to the bottom through the tri-oval.
Okay, I wasn't sure if Stout tried to make a move or if he got really loose coming off of 4 there, because I know it can be tricky from time to time, but that was That was this little scary moment right there.
And Trey, Jordan Stout, he led that lap by just 4/1000ths of a second.
That's pretty close.
That's pretty close. And you know what? The race ending could end up that close at the end of the day.
But yeah, the nice thing about this track, Joe, is that we can see 3 wide, 4 wide even right now, right? And
Yep.
you know, these guys aren't touching, which is, you know, nice to see there. But the time where we get nervous, and normally that's around anywhere, is 5 wide.
Yeah, 5 wide will not work here. You can handle 4 wide at points. It just depends on the drivers involved. But a 5 wide, no matter who's involved, it's not going to work out well. So that's the breaking point. But so far here today, we've not tested that breaking point here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Oh my gosh! That's Jordan Stout's old ride that he tried to cut off. But Luke Rainey was having none of it. Down to the inside. Remember the last time the Talladega got out front, he led it for about 3 or 4 laps straight.
You ever want to hear a spotter or driver panic? Go to that 88 real quick.
I was going to say go to the 6 spotter who was yelling inside, inside, inside right at the last second.
I wonder what the 88 was for. Going outside, out. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. Check up. Not again. Not again. Don't wreck another one.
But that was a very close call, but luckily we did avoid it. Whoa, big move there from the 17.
And a big move from Gary to block Laura Chung. The 9 was making a move on the 10. Gary said, I'll just take that push for myself. Baby Rose is going to want to lead this lap right here for 5 bonus points to that number 7, but he couldn't do it because Laura Chung gave Tim Gary an absolute boost out of the tri-oval, and she's going to try and make the move for herself. Gary led that lap. Now Laura Chung moves to the inside of the number 9, going for the lead through turns 1 and 2. She's going to take it off turn 2, but now here comes Thompson and her teammate Nolan Lawrence, the 19. He's good to go, ready to race, and so far, showing some good speed, pushing Keegan Thompson, going 4 wide down the back straightaway for the top spot.
It definitely looks like he's all right, Joe. I know we didn't hear much over the, you know, the week we had, and well, I think we're all on the same page here to say that we're glad to see him back. How did the week go for him?
I just know that for a lot of it, he was told by doctors to just go into a dark room and relax and don't look at any light. If you know, he obviously had a very big headache, so yeah, that was basically his week, was just stay away from anything that could cause a headache, even worse.
That's I mean, hey, that's honestly, out of all the situations we could have had, or you know, he could have suffered, that was definitely the best one.
Well, look at all these underdogs at the front. Henry Guo is leading for Bardo Haas Racing. Jacob Miller up here for CLR Racing. Jude Martinelli for Jasper, and Samet Oskin for Fitz Bradshaw Racing. Those are the top 4 positions, and I don't think there's any other track you'd be saying that at. Big move. Samet Oskin tried to get down in front of Jay Rando. The 97 having none of it. Martinelli comes right down in front of Rando to protect the spot. And the 67 is going to lead lap for Jasper here today. 5 bonus points there. Big for him. Trying to stay inside the top 35 in points. He's just on the cusp of staying in, so those 5 points could mean a lot here today at Talladega. As Rando moves out in front, going for his 2nd straight win on the season.
Oh, Joe, you know, we're a decent way into this race. Any guys you have an eye on? You know, maybe a Roush, Hendrick, someone like that?
I just saw Ryan Wilson block Chris Jericho there down to that yellow line, but Trey, honestly, with how this race has played out, there is not a single car that I think is good enough to hold the lead. The only one I saw that was close was Luke Rainey early on, where he led about 3 laps. The last time he got the lead, he didn't hold the same. So, I mean, I don't think there's a single car here right now that could hold it. Maybe this number 15 Ryan Wilson, like it did last season. We'll just have to see if Wilson can keep it up front, but Roger Crown Jr. is getting a big push from Ali Liera. That should be a big run down to the inside turns 1 and 2, and Liera's going to go 3 wide for herself down to turn 1.
The super speedway racing where no one's your friend, it's all about yourself.
Exactly. It's the most selfish racing you'll ever be a part of. And Aliera now to the front, Zidell with her. Now Zidell moves out. Roberto Crown Jr. going to the middle, trying to get low. Here comes 2 Chip Ganassi racing cars. Nathan Steelton, Benny Lynn, they were lined up until Matt took it 4 wide to the bottom. Oh, there they go! Big crash!
No.
Mathis Wells is in the outside wall, and others are collected. They're everywhere. Back up! Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, there was not much that could have happened there. You got a car sliding.
Oh!
My goodness.
Not again.
You know, I think.
Oh!
Oh my goodness. What
That was a
hit.
bad wreck.
That
bad-
was. I was gonna
oh.
say Martinelli might be a little upset because he's been involved in like what for the last 7 incidences we had, but Jasper as a whole just destroyed that. I hope Collins is okay. That would look like a T-bone to the driver.
That was a big, big wreck. Look at the cars that have gotten away. There's not many. There are not many that have gotten away from that.
No, there's not a lot, and it's going to take probably a minute here to figure out where everyone's going to line up here, but wow, that developed fast.
So we see Jericho has damage. I saw Guo get sideways. He saved the car, kept it going. I don't know how bad the damage is on the Zero. We saw Evans back around it in the 31. Looks like the Zero has some rear damage, probably some right side damage as well, but that could be good enough to at least stay in the draft. Evans was around it. He may have slithered his way through it. Gary, it looks like, made it through with Matthew Burnett as well, and I mean, look at Roush back here. 16, 97, 6, 99, and then Burnett just in front of it. I think 4 of the Roush cars got involved in that.
How many whole teams were involved in this wreck?
I saw the 8 and the 1 both make contact. The 20 and the 18 were both involved. The 2 and the 12 both involved.
All of Roush, it looked like, was involved.
88 missed it, but Riley Spurlington was in it.
It might be easier to say who wasn't involved in this one.
Yeah, basically, if you take Luke Rainey on up, they were not involved. Anyone behind, probably involved. And if they weren't involved, they are really good at record points or really, really lucky.
We'd see some of the more damaged cars coming down.
I'm surprised that 28 and the 99 aren't.
Yeah, those guys have pretty significant damage. And I'm going to say, as well as the Zero there, looked like, like you said, he had some big rear end damage. And here's Martinelli. Talk about a bad couple weeks, huh?
4 wrecks in 2 races for Jude Martinelli, none of which were really his doing. And it's just unfortunate there. Justin Zaidel is the current race leader here at the Talladega Superspeedway. We'll go check out what happened. First caution just about the midway through. And it's chaos for a lot of big names towards the back of the field. Well, Trey, this was a wreck that never wanted to stop happening, as Mathis Wells, I guess, just kind of crowds Lawrence in a 4-wide scenario. They get up into Guo, who saves his car, keeps it going straight. Then everyone just starts piling in. Then right here, coming down the track to avoid it, DeLello gets down into Kukulon, spinning them both around. And then they're going to come up the racetrack, and they're going to wipe out some cars right here. Look at this. Up into Collins, and then the 16 right up into the one of Hernandez, getting Fitzwater in the 2. Unfortunately, they're wrecking ahead of this, and the wrecking for some of these guys is not yet over.
No, not at all. Joe, this was a insanely long wreck. I mean, this is still going to go on right here. Martinelli, like we mentioned. The 12, I'm going to assume the 12 really can't steer much. He's got damage and then just bad timing there. But, Joe, it's still not done for Mitchell.
Look at Gary and Burnett find a way through the middle of that. Great job by both those. But as you mentioned, Mitchell Collins coming down the racetrack. Belladonna saw a hole, tried to make it.
Oh, my goodness.
That hole filled up quickly. Mitchell Collins takes a nasty tumble here at the Talladega Superspeedway.
Good job by Stout missing him, because if Stout would have hit him while he was still flipping, that could have gone way worse.
You see ahead, the 15 has damage. The 7 is up there as well. There was another part of this crash up the road. We'll go take a look at this part of the crash one more time, and then go see what happened up in front of this crash. One more look at full speed as Mathis Wells crowds the rest of the drivers up into the outside wall. As mentioned, not yet over.
I mean, there's not much these drivers can do here that are sliding through the grass, right? You're pretty much along for the ride at that point.
Yep.
But again, right here, no steering from the 12. Then
I
hold
think
your
what
breath.
happened there, the 12 was coming down the track. Martinelli saw some cars wrecking down low and started to come up thinking they were going to come up. And they just kind of met in the middle, unfortunately.
Yeah, 2 guys going for the same space, essentially, and just bad luck. You can see Eli Bright's got some heavy damage, and wow. Joe, but like you said, we're not done.
Yeah, you notice leaving the crash site, Eli was actually clean. The problem is there was a crash up in front that involved his teammate, which he got collected in as well. We'll go take a look at the second portion of this accident. And here's the second part. You see down the bottom, Strickland into Chen, and then trying to control the cars. Chen comes up.
Ooh.
That's a hard hit for all 3 of those. Hunter Reed, Chris Jericho, and Ryan Wilson. Look at Luke Rainey.
Oh, Rainey.
And then Eli Bright just clips the 15. Oh!
Wow.
And look at Fitzwater. Great job there.
You can see in the background the 12 coming the rest there. The 7 took a big hit there. Pretty much launched the 15 into the air. Good thing the 15 did not get into the catch fence. But, Joe, there were some hard hits throughout this thing.
Yep, and in all of it, one driver saw basically every car wrecked, but found a way through it. Let's go on board with Conrad Evans in the 31. Well, Trey, what can Brown do for you? Well, in a second, Brown is going to lead him through this crash, it looks like.
Good miss there, right? Oh!
Oh, my goodness.
What a way to slow the car down there, Joe. But, hey, he's still got another part of this wreck to miss.
Yeah, those two cars that went by on the inside, they're both crashed now.
Whoa.
Oh.
What do you think was going through his head seeing that 15 in the air flying like a UFO?
I want to know what was going through his head for the whole thing. He has to be like, when is this going to end? Is this ever going to stop? It's like Armageddon for Conrad Evans here at the Talladega Superspeedway. "17 laps to go when the remaining drivers take the green flag," and I say remaining drivers because there's not too many clean race cars out on the racetrack after that very, very big crash in turns 3 and 4. A lot of cars to the garage, and they'll be done for the day. This includes Mitchell Collins, Tyler Belladonna, Baby Ruiz, Anthony Hernandez, then the 4500 Reed, 15 Ryan Wilson, Jude Martinelli, Mathis Wells, and Eli Bright. Both Lawrence and Kukulon have fallen a lap down, but they're still out there. They're going to gain a few more positions, get up to 33rd and 32nd. We have 31 cars on the lead lap. Of them that are damaged, Jay Randall, Chris Jericho, then Jordan Stout, Zachary DeLello, Zachary Vittori Sr., Keyshawn Richardson, Riley Spurley-Tube, and Henry Guo. That leaves us 23 clean race cars. Burnett and Gary and Evans have to get around the zero if he's off the pace, and then the top 20 are clean. Luke Rain, the last of them. Sarah Kirster back there as well. At the front, it's Zidell, Liera, Stapleton, Baird, and Tuck. That's the front 5. Then you have Benny Lynn, Sierra, Crown Jr., Miller, and Chung, the top 10. Trey, this has opened the door for a possible new winner this season. The green flag is back in the air, and the Aaron's 499. Let's go back here to Guo. Is the zero going to be fast enough to stay with the draft? And if he's not, can these 3 clean cars, the 10, 31, and 17, find a way by him? So far, it's looking fine. He's trying to pass, actually, Sarah Kirchner in the 33 car.
I know you and me were talking about it during, commercial break. We were kind of surprised this zero didn't come down pit road at all.
Considering it looked like he wanted to come down pit road after that crash. Like he was heading to pit road, and then maybe they said, no, it's closed, we'll come in next time. He kind of veered right, went through the grass, and stayed on the racetrack, but then he didn't come in anyway when pit road opened.
I won't question it. I'll just let it go. But look at this front here. You think they're any calmer now? I'm going to say otherwise.
Well, considering the drivers that are up here that are maybe looking for their first ever win period, I think the tensions are high. Like, look at rookie Matt Tuck up here now in second place, but he has the Hendrick cars left to battle with them. I mean, Hendrick Motorsports is probably the only major team that still has all their cars clean. All 4 cars of Hendrick were in front of that crash and are clean to the end for now.
Which is crazy to think, because I think the furthest car up that ended up wrecking was only 4 rows back, if even.
Yeah, so they all found a way through it. And now Keegan Thompson in the number 5 moves to the front of the field. Remember, winner here in 2000, looking for yet another one. This team has won here before. In fact, this car won here before, but it was with Sebastian Kukulon behind the wheel. Now it's Justin Atkins, winner earlier in the season at Las Vegas, and now looking for one here at Talladega, moving side by side with Thompson down to turns 1 and 2. And Trey, surprisingly to me, Keyshawn Richardson at the back of the field is staying in the draft, keeping 24 cars up here running.
It makes you wonder if, it might take him a little bit to, somewhere get up to the front of this thing, but it looks like he still has a kind of competitive car. It looks like he might be struggling a little bit to catch the back of the 33, but only time's going to be able to tell.
4 wide further back of the field. They're giving each other plenty of room. Jacob Miller to the bottom for CLR Racing. Remember, had that great performance out in California, finishing inside the top 5. One of the many underdog stories we've had this season. Even at Lowe's last season in one of the biggest races of the season, the World 600, ran up inside the top 5 before fading late. Now he's trying to win one at Talladega. But Tim Garrick has maybe been one of the most aggressive drivers today, moving 3 and 4 wide basically all day long. Gary back to the front with another 3 wide move in the Tri-Oval. He led that lap once again. British bringing Matthew Burnett, a driver's not won since 2001. And for a team at the caliber as Roush Racing, that's almost unacceptable at times.
Yeah, that is honestly, Joe, yeah, I think you're right on, right on spot. That's saying that with a team like that, it might be unacceptable. But I mean, at the same time, it's gonna happen sooner or later, right?
It's gotta. At some point, that bubble's gonna burst. He's gonna get back to victory lane with that number 17 car. At the front, Evan Hunter, 2001 winner of this race, leads Evans, who tried to get down in the 31 but just didn't have enough time. And then Oskin and the points leader, Sierra. This 25 is still not yet led a lap here today for those 5 bonus points. Maybe now would be a good time. The 99, obviously not so good when he's leading a line, so when he had no one in front of him, he started fading back. He got his teammate Matthew Burnett down line, the 17 moving back forward, and now Richardson looks like he's going to get shuffled out by Zidell. 99 is going to try and keep as many spots as he can to stay in the draft, because really at this point, the best he can hope for is he stays in the draft and he shuffles in the right way to where he's in draft the whole time to the end, maybe gets a top 15 finish out of a day where that car is, well torn up and could have finished in 28th or so.
Yeah, if he can finish this race within this pack, I think with how it's looking right now, like you said, I would not complain one bit about that at all.
No, I think I'd take that and run away with it. I would not look back after taking that. As at the front, a few have gotten single file, but that's not lasting for long because Matthew Burnett is moving out on this number 81 of Sabet Oskin, down into turns 1 and 2, bringing Ali Liera down to the inside. This could be a career day for her, that new driver to the Winston Cup Series, and new team as well, new everything with that 09 car, and maybe she can find a way to get the upset here in just one of her very few starts of the season. She's moving low, has a push from Luke Rennie in the 88. Will Luke push her to the lead? No, he's going to go 4 wide for himself, down into turns 3 and 4. Maybe not.
Well, that didn't work out too well. He got cut off real quick there, so we'll have to see if Rainey can get another run going here as this 09 is leading the pack. She's going to go up top, though, and allow Rainey to get back on the bottom.
Big run to the inside there. Zidell looking to maybe shoot the middle, and then barely got down behind the 88 once again to keep in front of his teammate Lathan Strickland. At the Trioval, side by side for the lead. Luke Rennie led that lap by a few 1,000ths of a second. Strickland leaves his teammate Zidell to the middle lane, and maybe that comes from the Dover pit road incident. I don't know. Strickland being very aggressive with the 24 there, not helping him towards the front of the field. And oh my God, did you see that at the end of the back straightaway?
I did not, but I was gonna,
look away. Just don't look that way.
I was gonna ask you with half the field being damaged now, and what do you think the lap car situation is gonna look like, Joe?
We're going to find out, Trey. I can promise you in like a lap or two. So you don't have to ask. You'll find out very, very shortly as we're coming around to 10 to go. Lap traffic is going to have a hand in the end of this race. As you can see, they're going 3 wide for the lead. And the reason they're being so aggressive and trying to get up here right now is that you want to be at the front when you catch this lap traffic. You do not want to be back in like 15th, 18th place. You get held up, lose the draft. And like we saw last season, lap cars held up a lot of the field. About 5 got away, and it was only those 4 or 5 that were able to get it with a shot at the victory at the end.
When was the last time we had a race at Daytona or Talladega and a lap car didn't become a factor into it?
The 500.
So it wasn't that long ago, right?
It was not. Normally,
let me rephrase it. How about Dega, just in general?
Yeah, Dega is one that, I mean, I guess last season, though, we had some races go caution-free here at Talladega, so, I mean, I guess when they're clean, it's good, but whenever they wreck, you're wrecking pretty big, and you're going to take out a lot of cars. As Nathan Baird holds the lead with Laura Chung trying to get up there because lap traffic is looming ahead for the front runners. I can hear them in the same camera angle. By the time they go off into turns 1 and 2, there's about a pack of 4 or 5 of them, all damaged, all running about the same pace, and the leader's bearing down on them much faster. Here we come onto Stout, Jericho, Rando, and Kukulan. A lot of veterans in that, but how can they handle being lap traffic?
Now, we know a handful of these guys have complained about lap traffic. We'll see how they deal with the pack.
Oh!
Oh, my goodness, that was so close.
The top side got away. The inside, not the place to be. Nathan Baird with Lathan Strickland and Colin Lewis moved to 1, 2, 3. And now, can the rest of the field find a way by? Here comes Strickland for the lead. Won this race last season by being in the same position. Got by lap traffic, only had about 3 other cars to worry about. He won the race. Now he's in second place. If he gets to the lead, can he hold it?
Yo, this is going to be a big gap from 3rd to 4th.
Yes, it is. And I don't, with the 99 now leading the pack, that's not going to help.
This is going to be a very unique set of circumstances we're going to have to finish out this race now.
Well, they really need the front three to get side by side in some manner. They're already shuffling Richardson out. See back there, there's still cars getting held up. Justin Seidel's trying to get to the middle. Jericho's holding up Oskin and Luke Rainey. Very tough break there. And the 97's holding up Jacob Miller. Oh, that's... Oh.
Huh. Well, anyways, this the top three have a big lead.
Yes, they do. But last season, the top few had a bigger lead. It was up around 3.5 seconds when they got away. This season, 1.8. It's now 2.2 because they were battling each other back here. But if they can get sorted out, 2.2 seconds with only 3 cars up there and one of them fading off. So really, it's only about 2 cars, and they're going side by side. That's this is really helping that pack out.
Yeah, they're not. The top three are not helping themselves, are they?
No, they're not. I thought Nathan Baird would have stayed single file there. Strickland's going to get him back on this straightaway because of that Hendrick horsepower. But yeah, I would think Baird would want to stay single file to just keep it between himself and the 48 and then maybe have a shot. But with him trying to pass the 48, brought the 91 of Lewis back into it. And this pack is starting to run them down. It was 2.2 seconds last time by. We'll see this time what it is. And I have to imagine that gap's cut down to about 1.5 seconds or so.
All right, Joe, you've watched it. You commentated enough of these races. Your best guess. What do you think the speed difference is between these three and the rest of the pack?
It's like 5 miles an hour probably. And you add that up throughout a 2.66 mile lap, it's a lot. Gap went down to 1.8, so they gained about 0.4. And more lap cars up the road. 3 more. Riley Spurley-Tube, Zachary Fitzwater Sr., and Zachary DeLello. Nathan Baird passed Lathan Strickland down to turns 1 and 2. He's getting the boost from Colin Lewis. They stay side by side. Here comes Evans, the wreck Dodger, with that caution flag. He's up into it. Look at the run they have, Trey, coming out to those front 3.
You know, Joe, normally, if you ever win one of these super speed races, you say thanks to your spotter, but if Evans can pull this out, you might want to give a spotter a little bonus there because you're going to take it back all the way to that big one, and his spotter getting him through it, and if he can pull it out, you know, might owe him a nice dinner.
Well, here comes Evans moving low for second place. Lap cars up the road once again. How about Keyshawn Richardson? Up into the top 5, going for 3rd place with that damaged number 99 car. He still has a shot at this if things play out right. He's looking on Evans. They're going side by side with lap traffic. That's just not so good. Baird's going to try and get around the outside again. Oh, my goodness.
Whoa. This one looks to be going better.
Oh, Ali Liera almost ran into Zachary Fitzwater Sr. She's got to find a way down to the bottom as quick as possible because right now she's held up behind this number 16. Richardson trying to get out of the way. Most of the pack has gotten through as it's Evans leading Richardson. Then Justin Seidel, Keegan Thompson, and Max Davis, the pole sitter, back in it to win it. Then behind this pack trying to latch onto the draft, Benny Lynn, Roberto Crown Jr., Gary and Hunter, the teammates. Then Liera, Stapleton. Here comes the points leader, Sierra, Matt Tuck, Sarah Kircher trying to get up here, Colin Lewis. The rest of the field trying to find a way through, but just 4 laps to go is their time to run down the main draft.
Well, that was... Did you hear? All right, anyways. You think we'll be done with lap traffic?
I saw a few more up the road. How damaged they are, I don't know, but coming back to 3 to go. Will we catch your car and my car? I don't know. They're having a heck of a race, though, back there for 25th.
That's a unique set of circumstances. You know, if you want to call down to your box real quick, tell them get out of the way. I'll call down to mine, and we'll get this settled real quick.
Yeah, concede and start battling back behind this main draft. I hope maybe the spotters can align with that. But now with 3 laps to go, Keegan Thompson, winner at Atlanta, going for his 2nd victory of the season. Max Davis looking for his 1st ever win in that number 21 for the Wood Brothers. Then Lathan Strickland trying to get back-to-back wins in the spring Talladega races. But here comes MB2, and they're staying together. Gary with a big push from Evan Hunter down the back straightaway, and then might try to get to the inside of Thompson in turns 3 and 4.
This might be the first form of teamwork we've seen all race long, Joe, and they made it work.
That was to perfection, but now will they stay like that? Probably not, because it's come down to the end of the race, and everyone wants to win at Talladega. Evan Hunter looking to go back-to-back in the super speedway races, down to the inside of his teammate. Here comes Evans on Nathan Baird. Just 2 laps to go in the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. It's getting intense in the main pack.
Well, you know, worst comes to worst out of that. They got a new office photo to hang up.
Yes, they did. And Evan Hunter now leads over Conrad Evans. Trey, I think our cars are going to be fine to not play a hand. in the end of this race, thankfully. I think they're just far enough up the road, they're not going to be caught. Here comes Conrad Evans. Nearly won this race, or nearly won here back in 2001, but it was his teammate Kukulon who stole it at the end. Now he's moving to the inside. Here comes Keyshawn Richardson with that damage number 99. He's with a shot to win. He's going to push from Matt Tuck for PPI Motorsports, but who gets the victory lane? Evans is clear out in front of Evan Hunter. Here we come to the white flag in the Aaron's 499.
Oh, this is going to be dodgy here. Evans is going to lead the white flag, but is he going to be able to stay out there long? I don't think so. This 32's got a big run to the inside, and don't count out this 40, Joe.
Oh, big block from Conrad Evans down to Matt Tuck, trying to get his first win as a rookie. How about Justin Zeidel, hasn't won since 2000? And then Chip Ganassi Racing, Benny Lynn, and Nathan Stapleton are lined up. Here comes Zeidel, but no one went with them. His nearest help is a few car lengths back. Stapleton not close to Justin Zeidel. They're going to be side by side for a second behind Conrad Evans. Can Tuck get clear and try to make one final move in the tri-oval?
You can see this 32 gets bigger. They're rubbing in the back. It looks like the 09 and the 5 got together. They separated now, Joe, but can this 32 get a run, or is the 24 going to go to the inside?
Zeidel went to the inside. It's over in Talladega. Conrad Evans missed that big crash and somehow finds a way to the front to win the Aaron's 499.
Joe, what did I say about 10 laps earlier, 5 laps earlier?
That I think that spotter might be getting a huge pay bonus.
Holy cow. And, I mean, yeah, what can you say? You take it back to that, wreck avoidance, and those guys working together, that's what kept the 31 in this. And, you know, if we could get a listen in on this radio, I'm sure we'll hear it after the race, but that mic's probably getting blown up right now with a lot of excitement.
Oh, yeah. He is, you know, he's had a solid season. He's currently inside the top 15 in points, but compared to his teammate Sarah Kirchner, the RCR gang has really fell behind. But now, Atkins has a victory. Evans now has a victory. Just two more and look at the full set. We'll see if Kukulon and Kirchner can find victory lane. But we know Kirchner, she doesn't need to find victory lane because she's had the consistency to be up there in the points.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll have to see if maybe, you know, this might try to start to kick something here at this RCR group. Like you said, they've been struggling, but only time will tell. But right now, this 31's got to, he's got a lot of celebrating to do.
Yes, he does. And I know he's not the most popular driver in the garage or even in the stands, but I'm sure a lot of people will have to give him credit for missing that big crash. And then even after missing it, he put himself in the right position to miss the crash, and then the right position to win the race.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to say he didn't earn this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And he gets the victory lane here in the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. A really good day for a lot of small teams, including Matt Tuck for PPI, who was on the cusp of falling outside the top 35 in owners' points. A big day with a second-place result is going to keep him inside the top 35. Justin Zeidel, one of his best runs of the season, tried his best at the end, really just never had the help to get up there. He ends up in third place. Benny Lynn, a fantastic result for Chip Ganassi Racing. Both their cars that made the race both end up inside the top 10. Lynn with the fourth. Once again, another driver on the cusp of being inside the top 35 in owners' points. He was 35th entering. He's going to leave much higher than that for sure. And Justin Atkins makes it 2 RCR cars with the top 5. He gets 5th. Brett Sear, the points leader, found a way to just put himself in the right position. He's going to leave with an even bigger points lead. He gets a 6th place result. Matthew Burnett, one of his best runs of the season, in 7th. Then, as mentioned, Nathan Stapleton 8th. Keyshawn Richardson had a car torn all to hell, but ends up in 9th place in that 99. And Laura Chung gets a top 10 for Evernham. Evan Hunter had a strong car at the end, but faded to 11th as he got past late. Then you have Lathan Strickland there. Roberto Crown Jr. How about Max Davis, the pole sitter? Keegan Thompson, Ali Rivera, as you mentioned, Trey, rubbing in the final quarter as they had made contact at Rockingham. They were making contact at a complete opposite track at Talladega in turns 3 and 4 in the last lap. Then Gary had a good car, just didn't have the track position. Baird and Kirchner, definitely one of the weaker cars that was left in that race. She was always really at the back of the field no matter who was left, and even there were so few cars, we never talked about her much. She had about 19th. We had 19 cars there in the pack at the end as Luke, Rainey, Smith-Oskin, Colin Lewis, Jerry Chen, and Jacob Miller all lost the draft because of some lap traffic. Henry Guo, the last car on the lead lap, in 25th. Then a bunch of cars lapped down. DeLello all the way down to Sebastian Kukulon, and a lot of cars out. Eli Bright all the way down to Mitchell Collins in the number 12. It was a very destructive day at Talladega. Only one caution flag, but it was a big one when it came. And now, Trey, we take a look at the point standings. And with Evan Hunter, Sarah Kirchner, all those guys around Brett Sierra in points, finishing behind Brett Sierra, He's opened it up once again. It was 111 entering the day, even more than that exiting Talladega.
Yeah, you got to think he might start not feeling comfortable, but kind of cozying himself in right now, right?
Yeah, at sooner or later, he's going to have a race mulligan, right? If he has a bad race, he's still going to have over a race points lead. So he's feeling decent at the moment, but still lots of season left. This was only race 10 of 32, 22 races to go. And Trey, this next race, while Talladega, we talked about it being a really big wild card with this, plate stuff and super speedway stuff. Short tracks are always a wild card as well. We're going racing at the Richmond International Raceway for the Pontiac Excitement 400. We've seen a lot happen there in the past, and I'm sure this season, with how it's gone, it's going to be just normal at Richmond, aka craziness.
Yeah, I mean, we saw tempers flaring at Dover, where Richmond's kind of known for that too, ain't it?
Oh yeah, I remember when Evans got into Eli Bright, least popular driver, probably dumping the most popular driver on the racetrack.
So you think it might be a week of a payback coming around?
Who knows? I mean, you don't really want to pay someone back at Talladega, but if you're still mad from Dover entering into Richmond, that's the time to do it. It's the first prime time race of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series season. We'll see how it goes next week at Richmond. Congratulations to Conrad Evans and the RCR team winning the Aaron's 4-9 at Talladega. For Trey Bardo, I'm Joe Ricussi. So long, right here on JRTV.